whatever it takes, the Negro problem will be solved within this span of this generation. Of course, there'll be people coming and going, but in general, this stuff is not going to be sent to the next generation. They're not going to get this off again. You know, they're not going to get this off again. And so what they do, whenever the prophets come, they would simply take them out. See, but right now the energy is in multiple bodies. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do. And they know they're going to lose. The deal, but they're going to battle until they see death in the face. You know, and that's just simply the truth. And then the people also can't go against their machine. They don't have the power, but they do have the thought power. That's where I want to approach. You know, let them see, they have to, in their heart and mind, reject Rome. It can't be where, you know, they get a package or some UCCs or something and think that a form does it. They're immoral. They're trained to ignore any moral, ethical, or religious cause or purpose, and to carry out the Unum Sanctum policy at all costs, man, woman, child, animal, earth. It's a scorched earth policy. And this is why even people who align themselves with them have no idea that they're going to be sacrificed too. They think that Rome gives them a benefit now, they sell out, and Rome won't give them a benefit. Now, if they use, they're just fuel. And in that warning, this is where if people look at Septuaginta or the old Sumerian text, that later, for many millennia, then it comes up to Septuaginta and comes up to the Bible, where it talks about what good does it do a man to gain the world and lose his soul. These principles are rooted in nature. That's not a belief system. It's rooted in nature. It's cause and effect in nature. But what I think a lot of people who really don't understand how nature works have gotten lost in the dogma systems and don't understand that the energies of the constellations, when the constellations shift, so do the lords of that last constellation. And so now the Aquarian light is coming in, everything that is constructed under the Piscean light dies out. That's nature. It has nothing to do with what people believe, what they feel, stuff like that. And now, in a dogmatic form, they would call that Jesus come again. Or they would say the new age coming in. Or they would say the age of Aquarius. Or the age of ascension. Or Jesus ascended. They all mean the same thing. But the Yahshua, the Jesus, actually is the body of the people themselves, not an individual. So when the Aquarian light comes in, which is coming in now, there is no shadow. And so where you see a physical shadow, you can kind of look at that in the abstract or in the ethereal plane where there is no shadow. Therefore, there is nothing that can be hidden. So all of the tricks that Rome has used for the purpose of world conquest exposes him. And it's not unlike the truth of a leech. Truth of a leech, leech, vampire, relative. They need the host to live. So with all the threats, to kill the host, they die too. So they need to deceive. They need to deceive because they need to suck off your life. But they need you to have a certain level of healthiness so that they can feed off you because they're parasitic. This is what must be understood. The U.S. democracy platform is a political platform that was set up for demons. And it's entirely parasitic. Everything that is structured in it is for parasitic operations. And so this is why, like certain things that I'll emphasize over and over again, the Act of Congress 1871 and the coup d'etat, people need to understand. And it's not that everybody on the platform prior to that was necessarily honorable, but the principles of the platform were indeed positive and honorable and harmonic with principles of divine law. They were harmonic with Hermetic law. And this is why you see the alleged founding fathers like Jefferson, John Adams, etc., all of them had Korans. You know, but they weren't looking at it from a dogmatic perspective, if you understand. And when Obama went to Egypt and exposed that the American Constitution is derived from Muslim law, he's telling the truth, he's telling the real history. But you know that the masses don't know that. They haven't been told that. They think these, you know, if they think they're Christians, they think it's something opposite to them. Or even if they think they're Muslims and they don't know the real history, they think it's opposite to them. You know, but the masses have not, for the most part, are not aware of the distinction between religion and dogma. The same way the masses aren't, in general, aware of the difference between fiat and money. And so they'll speak of them in the same breath, and they'll operatively interchange with each other in the same breath on all those platforms. And likewise, you know, not knowing fundamental positive law discipline, which is jurisprudence, right? And so that's the science that treats of positive law. And logically, the science that treats of positive law will also give you a demonstration of negative law, which is called color of law. And so the U.S. democracy platform was set up distinctly and specifically to perpetrate color of law, which is why they start calling the defeated Moors colored people, because they are the target. Their estate is the target. You know, and it's not complex. However, if you hit on every point, some people have a tendency to start getting gray. And, you know, they stop seeing, they start getting confused because they can't look at multiple platforms at the same time and stay clear. You know, now I understand that. You know, but for people who can see on levels, you know, it's no different than, you know, you're throwing, you know, putting something on the table and they can identify pieces and they're not confused. You know, but most people aren't aware that they can see in levels, but that they don't see in levels.